Commander, could you spare me a moment? Now, I know I'm a general and politics isn't my field of expertise, but I was hoping you'd support Oberon in his attempts to allow marriage for people of the same sex. It's a pet peeve of mine, you see. Live and let live, I say. Why do others get to decide who someone may or may not love? None of their bloody beeswax. So much hypocrisy would be exposed for what it is, you know? Think of the famed lizard artist Della Gecko, for instance. Everybody knows he's gay, but he was forced to marry a duke's daughter. 2 lives made miserable because of senseless so-called moral objections. The whole business is unconscionable if you stop and think about it. Thanks, Commander. You're a doll. I'd give you a kiss that'd blow your jetpack off if you weren't off limits. Thanks again for passing that new marriage law, Commander. There are these 2 lizard girls I know, and they tied the knot the moment the news broke. What a feast we had! I don't remember any of it. Remember I mentioned the artist Della Gecko a while ago, Commander? Brilliant. Gay. Well, I have another example. The undead sculptress Claudella, who sadly perished a short while ago because of some strange disease that sometimes plagues her kindred. She was an artist of profound mastery, revered by every single one of the undead, but now that in her last will and testament she revealed to have had a long-standing physical relationship with a woman they always assumed to be her sister, the vermin are systematically destroying all her works. Beautiful bronzes, marvellous marbles, all are falling under the hypocrites' hammers. But you can do something about this, Commander. You can stop this madness. And if you won't, give me the order and I'll bash the skull of each vandal I meet. Couldn't have said it better myself. Cheers, Commander. You're officially a patron of the arts now. I shall raise a toast to you tonight. And in the meantime, try not to succumb to the temptation of yanking away Yorick's lower jaw and throwing it overboard. Good news, Commander! The undead riots have been squelched, and the many artworks of Claudella that escaped their pitiful ire have been placed in various museums where they're guarded round the clock. That'll show those intolerant bastards! This is a great victory for mankind everywhere. A victory of nature over nurture, of freedom over oppression. The undead need to know one can be gay and held in high regard nonetheless. Let that be the lesson. This whole business was about art, of course, but still. Let that be the lesson.
What the hell is the matter with Scarlet? Here we're having some extracurricular horizontal recreation, and suddenly she bails on me. I tell you, she must have knocked her head against the door and started liking girls all of a sudden. No woman denies herself my affections from one moment to the next.
Damn that loudmouth, Henry. I'll emasculate him with a pair of pincers if he doesn't hold his tongue. We've been having a bit of fun, you know. Casual-like, but now I told him that the fun's over, he's telling everyone I must be into girls all of a sudden because that's the only explanation for rejecting a true blue man like him. Filthy pig. How dare he? How? But... oh, fudge, what's the use? Why would I stand here and pretend before the dragon, the ruler of worlds? Never have I said this to anyone, Commander, but it is true. I am a lesbian. There. The die has been cast. When I was 16, you see, I first fell in love with another girl. But when my parents found out, they were furious. Threatened to disown me and sent me to military school. They vowed that if I'd show any sign of being attracted to another girl ever again, they'd never more show me kindness or affection. That is the secret I've lived with ever since. I forced myself to sleep with men, but it is all a farce. A hollow way of ever so shallowly satisfying hidden, unacknowledged needs. I was forced to live a life of lies, and believe me, I can handle it, but I can't bear to have my real nature dangled in front of me as a means of mockery. Thank you, Commander. To have your support means a great deal to me, more than you can imagine. Perhaps one day I'll be free. Free to be who I am. We'll see. When I see your face, it is like a beacon of light, Commander. Such is the relief that I have a person to confide in, that it feels as if I have been pushing a boulder uphill all my life, and that now I can finally let it go. Watch it tumble downhill and out of sight. Glory be to the Emperor whom I may call my friend.
Don't worry, Commander. I didn't breathe another word about Scarlet and her ways. It's a relief to know I was right all along, though. When a woman says no to me, we all know what that means. Not interested in men. Period.
Commander, I have an urgent request that, in light of my recent disclosure to you of a personal nature, will, I'm sure, not fall on deaf ears. Prospera has received anonymous letters about an elf archduke by the name of Narcosim. You may have heard of him as a hunter of necromancers, but there is other prey he stalks. He's executing innocents in ways so horrible as to defy description. Whether they be men, women, elves, lizards, whatever. If they're gay, Commander, factually, merely suspected to be, or pointed out by wicked souls, they are quickly denounced as practitioners of forbidden magic and burned alive, boiled alive, impaled, quartered, whatever takes his sick fancy. No matter how evil his deeds, this witch hunter enjoys the protection of elven nobility, his family being one of the oldest and most respected in the realm. Already, Oberon is gathering a great sum of money to buy your blindness to his deeds. I beg you, Commander, do not take him up on his offer. Oh, it's such a relief to hear you speak those words. I couldn't sleep for hearing the screams of his victims echoing in my mind, knowing full well he'd do the same to me. May the dungeon he'll rot in boast a bored torture master hankering for a spot of practice. Ugh, this is all too frustrating, Commander. They arrested Narcosim, but he wasn't thrown in a dungeon. He's just confined to a palace out in the country where he lives in opulent luxury and is reported to have already killed a servant because he looked a bit effeminate, with no repercussions as a matter of course. That's just it. We gay people, we haven't the rights others enjoy. That creep can kill us willy-nilly, and all he gets coming his way is a slap on the wrist and a bloody castle to gallivant in. He'll probably be free in a month's time, stripped of his functions, sure, but ready to resume his murder spree. This must end, Commander. A line must be drawn. You have shown me support before, so please do so again. Let me announce to the world I am a proud lesbian woman, and that by order of the Emperor, I am bid to execute the wretch that undid so many of my brothers and sisters. I shall depart immediately, Commander. With your blessing, the Archduke will be dead by the morrow, and thus an arch-enemy will be slain. It is over, Commander. I returned triumphantly. I rode to Narcosim's stronghold on horseback, accompanied by several dozen female knights, and there, with your seal in hand, I announced the fiend's head would roll. It was bliss. It was vindication. They dragged him before me, kicking and screaming, but I, calm and collected, told him, I am Scarlet, Dragon's general, and one of the nature you sought to eradicate. Today, I come for you. His head I left on a stake upon the battlements. His body had thrown to the dogs. Once the news broke, the execution was met with as much applause as it was with indignation. We knew it would divide. But as for myself, I am perfectly content. I am who I am for all the world to see, and thanks to your approval, can look upon friend and foe with pride, with dignity so very long desired and so very long out of reach. You are a great man, Commander, and you'll make for a great king. I wish for no more than to stand by your side until the day comes we have vanquished our last enemies. I met this beautiful girl over at the Clawing Lion Inn. Works there as a barmaid. I think I'll go see her tonight. Ugh, this is all too frustrating, Commander. They arrested Narcosim, but he wasn't thrown in a dungeon. He's just confined to a palace out in the country where he lives in opulent luxury and is reported to have already killed a servant because he looked a bit effeminate, with no repercussions as a matter of course. That's just it. We gay people, we haven't the rights others enjoy. That creep can kill us willy-nilly, and all he gets coming his way is a slap on the wrist and a bloody castle to gallivant in. He'll probably be free in a month's time, stripped of his functions, sure, but ready to resume his murder spree. This must end, Commander. A line must be drawn. You have shown me support before, so please, do so again. Let me announce to the world I am a proud lesbian woman, and that by order of the Emperor, I am bid to execute the wretch that undid so many of my brothers and sisters. But the law favors him, not me. Ever have I been the victim of petty rules and bywords, whereas he, once more, will benefit by them? I was ready to shout from the rooftops who I, Scarlet, really am. Ready to strike a blow for justice. I understand you, Commander, but then again, maybe I don't. You forbade me to kill Narcosim, Commander, but I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. So I dropped my sword and reached for the pen. I wrote a pamphlet of sorts in which I made public that I am gay, in which I out that vile elf for what he really is, in which I decry the injustice that befalls my kind. It ran in the Rivellon Times and actually caused quite a stir. I had expected derision, I really did. But to my surprise, my statement gained me sympathy and my cause attention. It was an eye-opener. Oberon even apologized to me for having wanted to cover up the Archduke's abominations. He's in a proper dungeon now, devoid of light and luxury. I am vindicated, Commander. I am free. I may not always have had your support, but in the end, I clawed my way to where I am now by myself, and I think I have earned the right to be proud. You wouldn't believe the amount of letters I receive from girls and women the realm over. I'll never feel alone again. That's simply impossible now.